Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Barely Bookish podcast. Today, we are continuing our conversation of Emma with Bethany from Prince Kai Fan Pod.
Hi.
So, I love this book so much.
I know. I'm like reading it. Well, because I'm listening to the audiobook too. Like I'm
Yeah,
going back and forth. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, oh my God, this holds up so well.
I know. This is honestly maybe one of my favorite ones by her.
This is your first time reading it, right?
Yeah.
It's so good.
And it's like, I love Pride and Prejudice is always going to hold a special place in my heart. Honestly, I've never been disappointed by anything Jane Austen has written. So,
Um, I guess Northanger Abbey is like not my favorite. If I had to pick like a least favorite out of all of her books, but they all have like their own charm, and their own like strengths and flaws and qualities that I like.
mhm.
Um, right now, I can't read Sense and Sensibility for obvious reasons. But everything else, like I would reread it right now if somebody asked me to, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I haven't read Northanger Abbey. I've read Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, and Emma, and I think that's it.
I forget, did
Yeah.
you read Sense and Second Degree Murder yet?
No, I have it.
Okay.
For what if you want to do an episode on that, I have
Oh, I
it.
definitely do. I loved it. Absolutely
Okay.
loved it.
Okay.
Can't wait for her next one. I remember I was like, what's the next one? And she was like, Northanger Murder. And I was like, hell yes, let's do it. Let's go.
So I need to read Northanger Abbey. Yeah.
Yes.
North.
Yeah. You'll
Okay.
need to read that before. Well, I mean, it'll probably be like a year or two before hers comes out. But
So I got time.
yeah, I'm super excited.
Good.
For some reason, my Apple Watch just decided I was going for a run, which is not happening. So let's turn that off.
Sometimes I feel like my Fitbit is like trying to like tell me something. And I'm like, leave me alone.
It's like, do you want to go for a run? No, I went for a walk this morning. That was enough exercise for the whole day.
Anyways, starting Emma.
Starting
So we are on chapter 12, XII 12, right?
12, yeah. X is 10,
Okay.
so plus 2 is 12.
Excellent. Thought X was 10, but then I was like, what if it's 5? But I think V is 5.
V is 5.
Okay. I'm getting there. It's work in
It's
progress.
not easy, and it's one of those things, like, if you don't use it, why would you know it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I use it for is Spirits Podcast Urban Legend episodes. And this is my continuous plug for Multitude podcasts. I think they're all
Love
delightful.
Multitude podcasts.
Yes. So good. They're so good.
They're the ones that do Potterless, right?
Yeah, but he
Love
just got a new one. Potterless is no more.
Right,
Now,
they finished it.
yeah, now he's got the newest Olympian, which is way better. It is way better. So good. Please listen to it. Oh my god, I'm
That
obsessed.
one's about Percy Jackson, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I need to read the books first.
God, the books, you'll honestly breeze through them, but they're a delight. They're hilarious
Oh, good.
and very cute.
Right now,
And
I just started the 3rd book in the Crave series.
mhm.
And I had no idea I was gonna love this series, but it's so good. Like when I first looked at what it was about, I was like, okay. But it's basically Twilight if all the werewolves were dragons and Bella had a backbone.
Better.
And it's super good. Like I finished the 2nd book yesterday, and Quentin came home. Quentin is my husband for listeners. And Quentin came home and was like, "How was your day?" And I was like, "Oh my god, this is what happened in the book." And he was like, "Bethany, I don't care." So if anybody's read the Crave series and doesn't want to give away spoilers, message me. I just finished the 2nd one. It was so good. I was like, "What happened?"
I need to read it. I just finished A King of Battle and Blood, which is getting my vampire itch back, and then
this is like invoking vampires in me. I'm like, I loved Vampire Academy. I loved Bloodlines. I loved Buffy. So now I'm like, okay, well, as soon as I'm done with this, I need to read Fat Vampire and all these other vampire books that I've never gotten around to.
I would highly recommend checking out A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire if I were you.
Okay.
No other words on the topic, but it is a delight. Because it's hard because it's like everything's a plot twist in that novel. So I'm just gonna be like, there you go, just read that.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's very good. And you'll like it. But anyways, Emma. No vampires at all, unfortunately.
No, surprisingly, there aren't any vampires in Emma by Jane Austen. It's very strange, but you know, the world works in mysterious ways. Um,
Would I love that retelling? Yes, I would read it.
I would read it. I would read it right now.
I don't know who would be the vampire, but figure it out and let me know. Maybe I'll have a better answer at the end.
They're like none of them are vampires, and then it's revealed that like one of them is a vampire.
What's that thing where they have like the energy vampire? So he just sucks the life out of every room.
The succubus?
No, no, no. It's like from a TV show.
Oh,
Is it What We Do in the Shadows? Maybe.
I don't know. I haven't seen that one.
I think that's it. I haven't watched it either, but everyone's told me about it. So let me know, listeners, if I'm correct and if I can I'll make someone fit that role. Okay, thank you. So chapter 12.
So chapter 12.
So Mr. Knightley is coming over to eat since it's Isabella's first day back in town. I don't know why, but every time I read Isabella, I feel like it's not an 1800s name, even though it's very much an 1800s name, so it
I
freaks me
think
out.
because we had Twilight like caused a resurgence of that word, that
Probably.
name, I think.
Renesmee is going to be in here somewhere.
Right?
The Renaissance baby, whatever.
The Renaissance baby.
What's her actual name?
No,
I
it's
keep
Renesmee.
It is Renesmee. Okay.
Renesmee. I just
all,
like
I,
that you were like the Renaissance name.
all I think about is like all the memes, and I'm like, maybe her name isn't Renesmee, you know? Like, have you seen that? And they're like, oh, Rumpelstiltskin? Or. Oh
Oh my goodness. I have not, but I enjoy that nonetheless.
my god. If next time see a meme, I'll send it to you.
So anyways, yeah, Mr. Knightley's coming over for food.
Mm-hmm.
Isabella's back in town.
Yeah, and a reminder that when we left Emma and Mr. Knightley, they were like fighting about Elton and also Harriet. So Emma's like, "Are we still fighting, or like, are we chill?"
Because
And she's
Emma be like trying to control Harriet's love life when she has no
yeah,
business, and trying to force Elton and Harriet together. Or
mm-hmm.
yeah, she's trying to force them together, and Mr. Knightley is like, dude, no. And she's like, you don't know. And he's like, yes, I do.
Yeah. He's like, "What are you even doing? Like,
Yeah.
this is dumb."
He's like, you're a child.
Yeah, literally. I did not realize there's a 16-year age difference, though.
Yeah, it's a pretty big age difference.
Yeah,
But you know, at the time that wasn't really uncommon, and they're both consenting and of age, so
yeah,
it does make a big impact, I think, when there's that big of an age difference, because one person is obviously going to have like different views and expectations. Like you and I are different ages, right? So like we're going to have different views and expectations and experiences. Definitely things that like 22-year-old Bethany did not understand about the world, that, you
yeah.
know, 32-year-old Bethany is like, man, I was dumb. Okay.
We just spent money on a 5-foot beanbag chair, so I think that says
Right.
basically how I'm at it.
Right. Whereas I whereas my husband and I just just invested. We got money from selling some of our stuff for the move, and we invested all of it.
Nice.
Which is something I never would have done prior to getting married.
I get that.
I would have
Sorry.
like put it in a well, okay, before I was married, I was 22. So honestly, I probably would have like put half in my savings and then used the other half for something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. The nice thing is this beanbag chair was only $45, which is definitely like they definitely underpriced it. Like this is probably worth like a couple $100.
Oh my gosh, have you seen the really big like what are they called? Love sacks? They're like $500-$800. They look
I'm
so
pretty sure.
comfy.
pretty sure this is a love sack. I'm not gonna lie to you. It might be, and but they like cut the tag off, so I'm not sure. But like this is like a really nice one with like a really nice over the bag like
Mhm.
zipper, and like the lady just didn't want it in her kid's room anymore, so she was just like basically $45 to just get rid of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so win. But also like I feel like kind of a child, but I'm like, yeah, that's what we did today. La, 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 la.
I love it. Perfect.
Comforting
Well,
my inner
Emma
child right now.
is definitely the type of person who would blow money if she inherited it. I don't think she
Oh
would be
yeah,
like, "Oh, let me invest."
correct.
Obviously, she can't inherit anything because she's a very young girl, and
Mhm.
Emma be expecting her apology, and
Yeah.
Mr. Knightley is like, "No."
Well, the funny thing is Emma's like, this is going fine. They're like playing with the kids, and then she's like, yes, I was right, right? And Mr. Knightley's like, are you fucking serious right now?
She cracks me up. She's
I
like, she literally like everything's going fine. They're talking for like 2 seconds, and she's like, "Isn't it a shame how right I am?" Go ahead and admit defeat right now.
yeah, literally. But I think it's so funny. I love Emma so much. Like she's definitely someone where it's like she'd be like the chaos friend, but like I'd love her because she's always honest. You know what I mean? Like support it, love it. But then like basically the two of them are like, can we just like drop this? This is kind of dumb. And they both agree to essentially drop it and move on. And then this is also the point where I found out that Isabella has 5 children.
That's five too many. Sorry.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I was like,
Oh my goodness.
and then she's like, I'm just gonna bring them to people's houses. And what is it about people who have big families that are always wanting to bring their kids everywhere?
No.
Yeah,
Well, the concept of babysitting 5 kids is probably expensive as hell.
that's fair. But also terrifying to me. Like if I was just like, yeah, you want to come see my studio apartment for the first time, and then like 5 children stampede into my house, and the parents are like, oh wow, this is such a nice place. Like I'd lose my mind. And like we know Mrs. Bates, Mrs. and Miss Bates don't have like this big place, right?
No, and they're not particularly wealthy either,
Yeah.
right?
So we'll talk about that soon, but I'm just like, oh my god. um so then they start talking about people getting sick and being sickly, and I'm like, is this foreshadowing? I'm nervous.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I, thanks for the no spoilers, but I'm scared and worried. So Mr. Knightley says that Emma should be hanging out with Jane Fairfax. And my favorite thing is like Mr. Knightley just kind of like casually poking fun at Emma, and like only him and Emma know, but everybody else is like, "Oh yeah, Jane Fairfax is such a good person." And it's like, you know when you go to like your like childhood best friend's house and their parents are there and you're just like, what's the one thing I could say to make them like have to have a very uncomfortable conversation with their parents, but it also like doesn't seem like something that's weird. So you can just do
I
like this.
saw that picture of so and so in your locker.
Yeah.
Like, let me just see how much drama I can cause. We're finding out that Rachel is just like super dramatic in high school and like always trying to spill the tea and stir the pot.
It's fine. I think it's funny when it's not me that's put on the spot, you know? But it's always like those things where it's like you
How
don't
very
really want to
Emma
talk
of
about it.
you.
I know. Where it's always like you don't really want to talk about it, but then you're like, wow, I know that Chinese place just hired a new guy, uh, you know, to work
Right, make
there.
that
And then
push.
it's like the parents are like, oh yeah, I did notice that. And then your friend's like staring daggers at you because it's definitely the person that they told you was cute not 20 minutes prior. you know?
Thanks.
And then your friend has to be like, yeah, I did notice that. And they're just staring at you. Anyways, so uh, after not so subtly trying to steer the conversation, away from Jane Fairfax, Mr. Woodhouse gets like caught up on the fact that they all went to the beach instead of coming and hanging out with them
Yeah.
for holiday. And he's like, "You went to the worst beach ever. The worst one. Mr. Perry thinks so. The air is bad, and I'm surprised you're not dead."
I love this though. I love it. It says, like, you should have consulted Perry. Like, how dare you go to this ocean without talking to Perry first? I was like, I'm sorry, what?
The random town doctor that you don't live in anymore.
That nobody even talks to. And
Yeah.
he's serious. He's like, as Perry says, where health is at stake, nothing else should be considered. Okay. It's
Okay.
the ocean. Calm down.
Yeah. And then Isabella's husband's like, "I'm not gonna let this random dude I've never met like tell me how to act with my wife and 5 children."
Yeah, because his response is, I love this. Mr. Perry would do as well to keep his opinion till it is asked for. Oh, Mr. Perry's not even here to defend himself. Like,
I love it. Well, it's also like a slight on Mr. Woodhouse to be
yeah,
like,
like
"Dude,
nobody
shut
asked for your
up."
opinion.
Yeah. And I don't blame him. Like, he just got there after traveling for an exceedingly long period of time with 5 children in a carriage. I'm sure he's also like, "Yeah, I need to like
Oh,
rest for
can
a
you
little."
imagine these kids just like, are we there yet?
Oh
Stop
my
pulling
God.
my hair. I wanted to sit in the front. I can't see out the window. Just like, oh,
I'd
and
die.
he gets there. He finally gets there. He's ready to sit down. He's like, why hasn't anybody offered me a cup of tea yet? And this dude comes in and he's like, how dare you take your family to the beach?
On a
And
beautiful romantic
he just comes
vacation.
out and he's like, all right, I don't know who you are. I don't know who this Mr. Perry guy is, but nobody is telling me or my wife where we can take our kids. Okay? I like the beach. I don't like you. Get me a whiskey.
Literally, though. Literally. Like, that's the energy he's bringing to the table.
He's
And I
in
love it for
the
him.
mood. I love it. Yes.
Exactly. So, yeah, after roasting him a little bit, that's the end of that chapter. And then we are on to chapter 13. So, Harriet, Mr. Elton, and Emma's dad are all supposed to be heading over to the Westons.
Mm-hmm.
However, Harriet is super, super sick. And okay, I will say the trauma of COVID is like kicking in because they're like, she has a sore throat and a fever. And I'm like, oh my God, it's COVID. And I'm like, wait. Wait, there's like common colds. I forget sometimes that like the common cold exists.
But the common cold at this time was pretty severe.
Yeah.
So she could die.
Yeah,
You
she
don't
could
know.
truly. I know. I still think
That's
about
my
that
facial
one.
expression.
I still think about that one like in Pride and Prejudice, the mom sent Jane over there to get sick so that she had to get
She would have
stuck.
to, it's just as I thought. It rained, so now she'll catch cold and she'll have to stay for a few extra days.
Yeah,
And
like she would have died.
it's like, oh, I'm really glad that if she does die, it'll be in the name of trying to get married.
Yeah.
Well, we
Casual.
have 5 daughters. What else are you supposed to do with your time? Oh my gosh, we could just sit here and quote that whole book. Anyways,
So good.
yeah, Harriet be sick.
Yep. And then Emma's like, "All right, let's cancel this whole thing. This is a terrible idea." So she goes like, "Hey, Mr. Allen, because it's like really gross out, we shouldn't make the walk. Glad you agree. Okay, bye." And then like um Mr. Knightley, not so Isabella's husband is like, "Hey, don't worry about it. You can just ride in our carriage with us, and we're all going over there." And Mr. Allen's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And Emma's like, "Oh, okay, sure, whatever, I guess," thinking that like she had gotten him his way out, and yeah, now she has to go with Ellen and Mr. and Mrs. Knightley and her dad. And then Mr. Knightley, that's interested in her, was like, "Hey, you realize Ellen likes you?" And Emma's like, "What? No."
Nuh-uh.
What? She's like, no way. Absolutely not. And then we get the funny moment of Isabella's husband being like, "Yeah, I don't want to go." And then Isabel's like, all right, we're going, la 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 la.
He's just like, didn't I say I don't want to go?
I don't blame him. He like doesn't know these people. It's snowing out. It's
Like basically
Christmas.
the title of those two chapters could be things Isabella's husband doesn't want to do that he gets forced into doing anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Opinions he didn't ask for.
Yeah, truly. The inconvenience of Isabella's husband.
Alternative title.
Yep.
I love Emma though because she's like, "Oh, Mr. Elton, don't you feel in woe? My friend Harriet is sick." And he's like, "Who?" She's like,
Yeah.
"Harriet, the girl and with the girl, my friend. I was gonna hook you guys up, and you were in that girl." And he's like, yeah, super sad that she's sick."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like looking at his notes.
He's like checking his Facebook. He's like, Harriet. I don't have any Harriets on my friends list. What's going on?
Smudged hand. Oh yeah, Harry. So Emma's like kind of confused because uh Mr. Alton seems to have like forgotten about Harriet completely. And she was like, oh yeah, Harriet's got a cold. And he's like, that sucks. Anyways, moving on. And she's like, what? And then we are on to chapter 14. So Emma's like super happy to be there, and she's like the only one that's really that happy. Like everyone else is kind of like a little stressed out, but she's like, wow, best friend, homie that I love. And then somehow she gets stuck sitting next to Mr. Elton, which she's not happy about because he keeps talking her ear off. And she can't like talk to her friend really because he keeps being like, the weather outside is terrible. And oh, your drawings are so great. And she's like, okay.
I like that
Anyways.
he's constantly like, but Harriet, but Harriet, but
Yeah.
Harriet. And
She's
he's
trying very hard.
like,
Yeah, she's definitely like doing her best.
she is. She's being a good friend in terms of like trying to keep him interested
Mm-hmm.
and remind him like who his target should be, but she's not a good friend in terms of like having Harriet's best interest at heart, because if she had, she would be engaged right now. She wouldn't be chasing after Mr. Elton.
Yeah, for sure. Which I'm excited for the later chapters that we'll have to talk about because we get more Martin.
I love Martin.
So Emma's actually starting to get suspicion that he does in fact like her, not Harriet. And I was like, it took you long enough. All right. The rest of us were kind of
we already
on
figured it
that
out,
boat.
but good job.
Yeah. Thank you for catching up. So then they also start talking about Frank Churchill, and they say that Frank Churchill will be there within a fortnight.
One of my favorite words that people don't use enough.
Truly. I like fortnight because, otherwise you have to say it like 2 weeks.
I like fortnight better, though. Just classier. Fortnight.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a fortnight.
I feel like I'm writing like beautiful letters and gorgeous calligraphy.
Yes.
Just one word summons all of that emotionally for me.
How lazy the English language has gotten.
Truly. So Frank's coming apparently solely depends on his aunt allowing him to be spared.
I like did you write in your notes Jesus?
Yep.
Like, oh God.
Yeah, because listen, why? Okay, I was taking it at his word instead of thinking like, oh, maybe he doesn't want to come. I was like, oh my God, like this aunt must be so controlling, which is what we're supposed to think. But now I'm like, oh wait, this dude might just like not want to go and is using his aunt as an excuse.
Mm-hmm. It's more that one.
Yeah.
Oh no, my mom totally said I can't go to the mall, you guys. It sucks, right? She's such a bitch.
Like, have you seen
there
this?
There were definitely times when like I didn't want to go do things.
Yeah.
And I would be like, Mom, don't give me permission. And like
Mhm.
I would be like, "Hey mom, can we go?" And she'd be like, "No, I told you no one is going anywhere today. And you might as well get off the phone." And I'd be like, "Oh, you guys, my mom's such a bitch. Bye." But like she was just being a good mom. Like I needed a mental health day and she was just like, "Yeah, whatever, you're grounded for the day."
You're just like laying in your bed, not moving.
I think marriage is the same thing. 'Cause every once in a while, I'll hear Quentin on the phone and he'll be like, "Yeah, Bethany and I have plans, so we can't go. But thanks for trying to include us." Okay. And I'm like, "We have plans," and he's like, "I mean, I want to play Valheim." And I'm like, "I mean, I get that you want to play Valheim, but we don't technically have plans." And he's like, "Do you want to play Valheim with me?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure." And he's like, "See, we have plans. We can't go." Like
Mood. I've had it where people kept asking Daniel to like work late or something. And we had like this whole thing where he's like, if I ever call you and I'm like, hey, uh apparently I need to work late, you just have to start going off. And I'm like, yeah, my brother's fish died. I don't have a brother. But you know, we really can't go. I can't believe you would forget that we were supposed to go to the fish funeral. And like there was like a whole like going off on him, just like joke we had. So that like if anybody ever asks if he can like pick up someone's shift, I have to just like go off on how he's like the most inconsiderate person to forget that we had things going on.
My mom would do stuff like that. Like every once in a while, I would be at like second or third period. Like the day would have barely started at school, and I would get called down to the like office, and they'd be like, so your mom's here. You need to get your stuff. You're going to be gone for the next day, for the rest of the day." And I'd be like, "Oh, okay." And I get my stuff and I go, and she's just like waiting outside. And I'm like, "What's going on? Is everything okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I just, I didn't feel like being alone today. So we're going to go get McDonald's. We're going to watch soap operas. And you came home sick if anybody asks." And it's like, okay,
Yeah. Sounds good. Oh
that's
yeah, that
fine with
doctor's
me.
appointment that
Oh
I
my God,
had.
I would totally do that. If I was a parent, I would 1000% be like, "You don't feel like going to school today, do you?"
Yeah, "Huh, do you wanna go?"
Hang out and be my friend. Like I'm going to turn down McDonald's and watching Days of Our Lives. Not that I understood anything about Days of Our Lives when I was a child, but I watched it with my mom.
I keep seeing those like K dramas, and I'm like, at some point, like when I go through my movie watching phase, it's gonna be all K dramas.
My sister Samantha loves them.
Yeah, I just think I keep seeing like snippets of them on TikTok, and I'm like, that's gonna be my thing. I decided the moment, I don't know why, but in my head, becoming 30 is the age where I can finally do like all the things that I want to. I don't know, like
How long do
specific,
you have?
not that many years, like 6.
Okay.
But like specifically for um for some reason my brain's
By
like
the
the
time
second
you're 30, I'm going to almost be 40.
but for whatever reason my brain's like I can finally wear muumuus. Okay, that's happening. I dare turn 30, I will have a muumuu in my closet. I
They're
just
comfy.
they look comfy. I want to
My
experience.
mother-in-law bought me one for Christmas one
Mhm.
year, and I remember being like, "Oh my God." And I went to put it on, and I was like, "Quentin, I'm never going back."
Yeah. I just for some reason 30 is when I'm gonna finally allow myself to do it. But I'm gonna watch soap operas. I'm gonna learn to like wine. And if I don't like wine, I will be
Prosecco.
drinking mead.
Prosecco's really good.
I just isn't prosecco the one used for mimosas? Yeah.
Mhm.
I just put it with apple cider and then I'm like, nice.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, whatever. But I'm
I
gonna
don't really
become
have any goals for like the next stage of my life. You know what? I'm 32, so maybe when I turn 40, I will no longer care about my body. I would really love it if I could get to an age where it's like it doesn't matter if I'm skinny anymore and I can just eat and do whatever I want.
I've come to this new thing in my brain where I'm working out not necessarily to like lose like body fat, but mostly just so I look like emotionally I feel like I could fight anybody I ever encounter on the street. That's my goal.
My
Like
goal
I'm
is
in
to like outrun. Like
that's
I
fair.
need to be able to outrun not necessarily zombies, but like whoever's with me,
Yeah.
you
That,
know.
I love that. I've also my body positivity has switched from like wanting to lose weight to now me saying that this is the healthiest I've ever been to anything. So it's like I'm now considered technically plus size, I think. But
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
I've
this is
been
the
plus size for
healthiest.
a couple of years now, and it's like so
Yeah.
strange. Like my husband, way off topic. My husband and I went to the mall. I needed to get a skirt for something. And he was like, "Let's go to the mall." And I was like, "No, they're not going to have anything that's going to fit me." And he's like, "You always think you're so big. It's not that big. You're so small. We can find you clothes." And we get there, and like every store we go to, "Oh, we don't go above a size 10. We don't go above a size 10. We
Yeah.
don't go above a size 8." And he's like, "Well, what size are you?" And I'm like 12, 14, depending
Yeah.
on the brand. And he was like, "Where do they have that?" And I'm like, "At Torrid, the plus size store." And he's like, "Wait, 12 is plus size?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
they said we're not going to the mall." He even walked into Forever 21. He's like, "They have a plus size section." I was like, "Unless that sign says Forever 65, we can't shop there."
Yeah.
Like, I'm too old and too fat. That's not going to work. We are going to Torrid. And then we get to Torrid, and I'm actually a size 10 at Torrid. And we get to Torrid, and he's like, "Oh, there's like no small sizes here." And I'm like, "That's kind of my point,
Hmm.
dude." The only
Yeah.
place that I don't have to get plus sizes still is American Eagle.
Never shopped at American Eagle.
I love the jeans because they fit over my butt.
I just got a new pair of well, I got two new pairs of Target jeans, and I'm a very happy woman. They are very comfy. Because like my thing is I work out a lot, so I have a fat ass. I got a
Yep.
dump truck ass. And every pair of clothes that I usually get, if they're like plus size, they're like usually bigger around the tummy, but then like built like kind of straight. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I need us to have some room. Because I
Yeah,
got
I'm
big
like not
thighs.
necessarily like that I have a big butt. It's just not proportionate. So like my butt is bigger than my thighs and my waist. So like a size 12 will fit my waist, but it's probably going to be too tight on my butt. But like
Hmm.
a size 14 is not going to fit everything. So like right now my favorite thing is they have these things called mom jeans
Hmm.
at American Eagle. They're literally called the mom jean
Hmm.
and they fit me really well. But the thing is, if you look at me in the jeans, they're like really loose around the thighs and the knees and everything down, and kind of loose around my waist, and then like super tight on my butt. Because I don't
Sounds about right.
necessarily have a big butt, it's just not proportionate to the rest of my body. So it's
Yeah.
very difficult to find clothes that are flattering for that type of body.
I have
There's
like
also
really
short.
tiny calves, which is weird for the rest of my body. So I'm always like really baggy in the calf area. And then like so I can still wear like I know a lot of people who are plus size complain about not being able to wear like knee high boots, but I can still wear them because my calves are non existent. Even though I work them out all the time, so I'm not really sure what happened, but they're just like
Again, I think my calves are probably not big or smallness. Like everything's proportionate other than my butt. Um, but like it just depends on the style, you know. Like I am
mhm.
also 5 foot 1 1/4, so I'm quite short, which means when I gain weight, it's very noticeable. Um, but like my husband was like, "Why don't you wear those maxi dresses? My sister always looks so nice in those." I'm like, "Your sister's 5'11".
Yeah.
If I put on a maxi dress, I look like a child playing dress up. I do not look classy and fun and casual and sophisticated. I look like an actual child. He's like,
Whenever
"Oh." I think Emma is the type that would wear very flattering clothes because she has the money
yes.
and the body for it, right? They're always talking about how pretty she is.
Hmm.
Um, I also think that Harriet would be kind of on the plainer side in terms of I don't necessarily think that she's unattractive, but I think that she would be kind of plain in comparison to Emma.
I think okay, aesthetically in modern day clothes, I feel like Emma would wear designer and Harriet would wear really cute like Target outfits. Like
Yeah.
styled well,
Vintage.
very cute, but
Yeah.
like also not like Emma's level. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm sorry. My phone is distracting me.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. My husband just sent me a message for those of you who are if anybody listening actually gives an F, I just got a job offer that I'm very excited about, and my husband just sent me like 9 million emojis because he finally got my message, and now he's talking about going out to dinner, and I'm like, ooh, where are we gonna go? So I got very distracted for 1 second thinking about where I was gonna go eat. I'm sorry. Please continue.
What type of
Uh,
job is it?
huh?
What type of job is it?
I would be a school librarian at a STEM charter school.
Cool. That'll
Right?
be fun.
Anyways, so uh, Frank Churchill is going to be there in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Fortnite is a cool word.
Mm-hmm.
But he can only come if his aunt lets him go.
Oh man.
Hmm. And then we're at chapter 15 already.
Hmm. So apparently, someone says it's snowing really bad, which causes everyone to panic. Like they're like, "Oh my god, we have to leave now. We can't be snowed in." Because keep in mind, the Westons, like, while they are decently okay off, they're not like Emma rich, so they only have two
Right.
spare bedrooms. You know, like they're like, "Yeah, I'm sure if we had to, we could house you all." And then like Miss Taylor's like looking around, all panicked because she's like, "Where are we gonna put them?" And then Mr. Knightley goes outside. It's like, okay, actually, it's really not that bad. We can leave now. We can leave in an hour. It's fine. But everyone's like, we gotta go. We have to get out of here.
Like, Mr. Weston literally says, "What is to be done, my dear Emma? What is to be done?" It's so dramatic. I'm sorry I keep quoting the book. I just, when we talk about certain things, I'm like, yeah, but what he said was really funny. What was it?
That's always delightful.
I just love how dramatic they're all being. And I love that Emma, of all people, is like, okay, sure. It's a little bit of snow. Let's panic and freak out.
And then Isabella's like, I could walk, I guess. And Mr. Knightley's like, yeah, you have lovely walking shoes. This is going to be fine. Like, you have the proper shoes to walk in, and you're going to look great doing it. But we should probably start going because we have kids.
I love that she's like, I'll just walk. And Mr. Knightley is like, oh, God. Okay, look, yes, you could walk, but maybe we don't have to.
Yeah. So, on the carriage ride home, okay, for whatever reason, the word choice was that Elton is making love, and I was like, whoa, hold on a minute. I'm sorry, what did you just say? But what they meant is he's professing love. But I thought he started
professing love, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he started like kissing
like,
on her.
Miss Austen.
Yeah, I was like,
You know,
ooh, steamy. Yeah, I was like, oh god damn, like hold on. Chill for a second. What? Yeah, and so Emma got stuck in this carriage alone with Elton, and he's like, I've loved you, you're great, we're gonna make a beautiful, happy family, let's get married. And Emma's like, literally, what are you talking about?
She goes, you are not yourself. You could not speak either to me or of Harriet in such a matter. Like, you're not yourself. Yes, I am. No. I don't like what you're saying, so you're not yourself.
I know. And Emma's like trying to like diffuse this and like subtly be like, yeah, I'm not on the same page with you. And Elton is not hearing it.
No, he literally says, I never thought of Miss Smith in the whole course of my existence.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally never given her a second thought. That is really sad.
Yeah. And then he also is like basically saying that he thinks that she like prompted him. And she's like, I didn't prompt you. Like, what are you even talking about?
My thing is that he's so severe. Like, it's not just that he wasn't interested. Listen to what he says. He says, I never thought of Miss Smith in the whole course of my existence. Never cared whether she were dead or alive. If she has fancied otherwise, that is her own wishes have misled her. And I'm very sorry, but no. Like, literally doesn't care if she's alive or dead. Yeah. And Emma's over here like, but you like her, right? And he's like, what did I just say?
I will say this man has a lot of red flags though. Like this scene,
I know, right?
I was like, ooh, like I think Harriet dodged a bullet.
Yeah, for sure.
Like already, I was kind of like, I don't know, and then now I'm like, yeah, he was He's freaking weird. I don't like him.
Well, and even when she says, like, dude, I'm not interested, I am sure you have seen and understood me. What did I just say?
Yep. Yep. Walking red flag. Big no.
And
And
she
then
keeps, sorry, go ahead. I'm just like reading it I'm just like laughing at everything she says. I'm sorry.
enjoying it a second time.
It's just basically like, she's like, I didn't give you any encouragement. You have been entirely mistaken. I have seen you only as the admirer of my friend. In no other light could you have been more than anything but a common acquaintance. He's like, but you love me. And she's like, what did I just say?
Basically, the two of them are doing that back and forth to each other the
So
whole
much.
time.
And it's so amusing because it's like, we as the reader are just like, Mr. Knightley was right.
And Emma's in the back of her head like, oh my god, Mr. Knightley was right.
Then they get to his house and he runs away all pissed off. Like,
I know.
I have no doubts of matrimony to the present. Too angry to say another word. Too decided to invite supplication, and then the state of swelling resentment and mutually deep mortification. And then he runs away.
So funny.
Oh, Mr. Elton. I don't feel too sorry for you because you're kind of a dick.
Oh yeah, 100%. Don't like him.
Like, say that you're not interested in my friend, that's fine. But saying you don't care if she's alive or dead, like, dude,
Yeah.
calm down.
Like, what
A
the
simple
fuck?
no thanks will suffice.
Exactly. Like, what is wrong with you? So then we are on to chapter 16. Emma, still pissed.
Oh, yeah.
And then she's also mad because she doesn't think Ellen
That
even
could
actually...
literally be the title of chapter 16 is basically just Emma being like, the nerve of that boy.
Yep. Yep. And then she's like starting to realize, she goes, I don't even think he actually likes me. I think he's after my money, which is kind of...
Well, because she thinks back of everything. She thinks back to the pictures. She thinks back to how he used to address her and how he talked to her and when he was around her versus when he wasn't around her, and all the people that he inserted himself in their lives. And then she starts to put the pieces together and realizes, like, oh, he doesn't actually care about me. He doesn't care about Harriet. Okay, fine, I admit that. But he doesn't care about me either. He just wants a good fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's supposed to be coming from money, right? But he was like kicked out, I think.
Huh?
I think he was like kicked out or something. Like something weird.
I'm trying to think of the right word. Like disinherited kind of concept.
Mm-hmm. But it still seems like it's kind of hush hush. So I'm interested to see how it develops with him and what's going on there. But I'm like, So then we are on to... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Then we are on to chapter 17. Isabella and her family have left. We just got a couple of good chapters with them, and it was fun. But like, Mr. Woodhouse is like, you could just send your husband back and everybody else could stay. Which makes me laugh, because it's definitely the parent vibe, The parents are always like, yeah, just send your significant other home and you could keep hanging out here, if you wanted to or something. And I always think that's funny.
I think it's also like a sibling vibe, because I've definitely done that with my sisters before, where like someone they're dating is like, yeah, sorry, we have to go, and I'm like, okay, bye. And then my sister gets up and I'm like, why do you have to leave? Like,
Yep. I see it.
Yeah.
I love hanging out with my siblings, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I would also try and hold them hostage, like Mr. Woodhouse.
You're like, we have a spare bedroom. You like air mattresses. Where are you going?
We have a 5-foot beanbag with your name on it.
Exactly. Which is probably where I'm going to sleep whenever I visit.
I just laid down on it because when we got it, Daniel's like, oh, let's have like an Elden Ring moment. And I was like, okay. So I laid down on it and I'm like, oh yeah, I can sleep here. It's gonna be a great nap spot. And then Moon curled up. She's like, ooh, because it looks just like her poof, but like 5 times the size.
Aww.
Yeah, she was very into it.
Love it.
And she was like a little wearing it, and then like I put the blanket over top of her, and she's like, ooh, okay.
I'm not upset about this.
Fine.
So Harriet gets the news that Elton does not like her, and
Hmm.
she's really upset, but she doesn't blame anybody else, and she seems like she's still kind of in love with Elton, so Emma feels really bad about it. And the whole time I'm like, you know what you should feel bad about is that you ruined her chances at romance before.
Hmm. Hmm. But she's still like, I think I made a good decision there. And we're like, no, Emma. Also, Elton sent a note saying he was leaving town.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's like, oh, the horror. And Emma's like, okay, whatever. And then we are on to chapter
18.
18. That got me because I was having to add
A
there.
lot of them, yeah.
Yep.
XP and then 3, so 15 plus 3 plus so
Okay.
18. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
my brain.
Mr. Churchill still isn't there and has apparently been held up.
Hmm. Yeah, in a town I forgot the name of, but that's where he is. Apparently seeing other people for God knows what reason. And then Mr. Knightley is basically like, yeah, if Frank really wanted to come, he would.
He'd be here. Yeah.
Which, good point. And Emma's like, no, like, I'm sure he's actually getting held up. Like, this is where you're really, really seeing how naive Emma is.
Yeah. She sees what she wants to see.
And then Mr. Knightley is like particularly upset with Frank for something, for some reason, for the fact that we haven't even met him yet. It seems like he had like a vendetta against him almost.
Yeah, and part of that I think is just like, if you hear enough about a person, even if you haven't met them, you don't like them.
That's fair.
You know,
Yeah.
think how many people don't know Taylor Swift and hate her.
Yeah.
The amount of people that give me daggers when I say I like Taylor Swift is ridiculous. If I had a nickel. Um,
You'd be a millionaire.
but they've never met Taylor Swift. They don't know her. It's not like she has ever done anything to them personally, but for whatever reason, they have it in their head that she's like the worst human being to walk the planet. It's just because that's the idea that they have, and you're not really going to dissuade that from them. And I think that's like Mr. Knightley has just heard too many things about Frank that make him uncomfortable. And so now he's like, you know what? Even when I meet this guy, I'm already going to be prejudiced to him.
Really quick though on the Taylor Swift page. I You know how Kim Kardashian's doing basically everything to piss Kanye West off? Like, and go for it. Like, love that for her. I want her to invite Taylor Swift to a dinner party. I think it'd be
It's good luck getting Taylor to show up, but yeah, that would be fun.
but it'd be the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Or send her like a little care package or something. I don't know. I want it to make the news. I want Kim K to do something nice for Taylor Swift. I don't care what it is. I just think it would be funny.
Yeah.
Buy one of
I don't know if Taylor would go for it, but
I don't either, but I think it would be good. Or if she okay, secondary option that I'm also okay with. Kim K buys one of Taylor Swift's old houses and moves into it with Pete Davidson. Also would laugh.
the only thing I would find acceptable, and I'm totally putting it out into the universe because now I want her to do it, is if Kim K were like doing a TikTok video where she's like mouthing along,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just that song. I did something bad, and it's if a man talks shit, then I owe him nothing, and that's like the whole clip. I just want like a video of Kim going, if a man talks shit, then I owe him nothing, and that's like the whole video.
I would love that. She is on TikTok now, so
That's fine. She can do that. I give you permission, Kim.
yeah, we'll manifest it here.
Anyways,
Anyways, um, and then we are on to chapter 19.
which
So,
in my book is volume 2, chapter 1.
woo!
So confusing.
I know. I don't know why they do that.
No. Okay, so Henriette. I'm sorry, my husband's grandmother's name is Henriette, so I keep doing that. Harriet and Emma are going to the Bateses' house, and there's a letter there from Jane Fairfax.
Which, of course, there is.
Why not? She were gone. You have all these messages.
Honestly, have you ever had a Jane Fairfax in your life? Okay.
So many of them. And it's so hard because, like, Especially doing the podcast, like, because like I want to engage in conversation and be open and have like open discussions with my listeners and stuff. And then sometimes it's like I have to be like, hey, look, I have stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
There was one person who had got a hold of my email for my podcast, and I finally had to message them and be like, hey, I really like talking to you, but you know, 76 emails in one day is a lot, and I have a lot of work I counted it was 76 emails in like a 12-hour period. I was
Jesus.
like, I have a lot of work to do, and a lot of it was just like, you haven't answered me yet. And it's like, so I was just like, look, I'm really sorry, I have a lot of work to do. I'd be happy to message you when I have the time, but I don't look at my phone all day, and I am at my job right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah.
And so like, not always, I don't think that it always comes from a good place or a bad place. It might even just come from a lonely place. But I
Mm-hmm.
do actually feel a little bit bad for Jane Fairfax, because I feel like this is like the cool kids group, and she's just not, she doesn't fit in with them. And so I feel bad, because I was the lame girl at school trying to be friends with the cool kids. So I'm Jane Fairfax, like, you guys, why didn't I get invited to the mall?
I just feel bad because it's like I feel like Jane's not that bad, but everybody else around her makes her awful.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, like have you ever? It's like to me, it's like one of those people where they have a boyfriend, and they'll be like, "Yeah, he like hangs the sun. This is the best guy." And you meet him, and he's like just a person, and you're like, "I kind of don't like you." Like, hang the sun, buddy. I promised you can do it. Where's it at? You know, and it's just so
Yeah, it's
everything they do is a letdown.
you we as people get our own expectations of others, and when they fall flat upon meeting them, it's like, what? I get
Hmm.
that all the time with my husband. People will meet him and they're like, oh, he's not that tall, and I'm like, no, he's not. I'm 5'1" and he's like 6'3". He's not like so tall that it's glaringly obvious, or that it's like, oh my god, he's a giant. But he looks tall when he stands next to a very small person. So
Yeah,
I definitely get people that meet him in person. They're like, "Oh, he looks taller than he's not as tall as I thought he was." And it's like, "No, I'm not as short as people think I am." Actually,
feel
no,
like
that's not true. I meet people in real life and they're usually like, "Oh, you're shorter than I thought you were." But I like to think I don't look that short.
I feel like people think that my boyfriend must be like kind of short because I'm only five. Like no, not only I'm 5'7", so it looks like he and I are like really close in height because he's 6'3", and so like we're like just probably about like that difference wise. So like people don't know if I'm really tall or if he's just like average height, and then they like meet us and we're both very tall people.
Um,
Anyways, Emma.
Jane Fairfax is going to be in town next week, so everybody's like super excited about it.
Yeah.
And she's sick, so she has to go home for like 3 to 4 months. It's like, that's a long time that you're so you think you're going to be sick for that entire time? Like,
I'm putting air quotes around sick.
yeah.
I think we
Also,
have.
I love that it's always the character's name Jane in Jane Austen books that get sick.
Yeah, Jane's like, I'm not going to do any sort of like self writing, and then she goes, Jane was deathly ill. Casual,
It does
casual.
amuse me that her name is Jane Austen, and then like almost every book of hers, there's a character named Jane.
Yeah, I
I
wonder
think
if
it's just because that was like an extremely common name at the time, but I do find it amusing.
but I also like that so far none of the books I've read have been from the point of view of a Jane
Yeah.
either.
It's
Like they're
always
always like a
a
side character.
character. Yeah.
Yeah, which I like. Um, but yeah, then we are on to chapter 20, and we get like Jane Fairfax backstory, which is fun. We find out that she's an orphan, and she had like this best friend as a kid, who then they like adopted her because obviously her grandmother and aunt are not like that wealthy.
Right.
So this colonel was like, "Hey, I will raise her and take care of her education, and then our daughters can hang out, and you don't have to worry about it." And they jumped on board of that because they're like, "Yeah, we can't really afford this." And also, like, they're both going up in age. I don't think they want to take care of a kid.
Right.
So it worked out. And she started living with them at 9 years old. So Juicy, her childhood friend, has now gotten married, and so Jane kind of has to figure something out because like she can't be like living with these people. What?
She can't live there anymore.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she's out at this point. She's outstaying her welcome. Her childhood friend is no longer
I'm
there.
already a burden on my friend's parents. And I'm
I'm
20.
27 years old.
No money, no prospects, and I'm already a burden on my friends.
Hmm. So Emma's a little confused about Jane being in town for so long,
Mm-hmm.
but she's like, you know what? I'm gonna give Jane a shot. Which, love this. I thought this was so funny because I remember like doing this as a kid, where you're like, you know what? I'm gonna be a better person today. And then like one mild inconvenience later, you're like, you know what? Fuck that. Actually,
I know Emma so quickly is like, you know what? She deserves a friend. I'm gonna be her friend. And then like as soon as Jane starts talking, Emma is like, oh my god, I hate you so much.
and it's just so funny because it's like mostly the aunt. She's like, her aunt won't shut up. Like, and she even kind of admits she's like, Jane would not be nearly as bad if her aunt was like slightly quieter.
Yeah.
And she also like Emma finds out that Jane knows of Frank, but she like won't give any details, which is super suspect. Like every time she's like, "So is he nice?" And then uh, um, Jane will be like, "Well, plenty of people think so." And Emma's like, "Well, like, what do you think?" Which is
Right.
not helping Jane's like Emma's opinion of Jane at all, because
No.
Emma's like a politician answering these questions.
Which and then Jane is like, okay, but do you have any information? And Emma's like, la la la, what sorry, did you say something? She like very deliberately um dismisses her on multiple occasions.
I
And
know
then I think did you put it in your notes?
what.
Oh yeah. Even though you put even though it's known that they know each other.
Mhm.
But I love the line Emma has about like before she had committed herself by any public profession of eternal friendship, um, she passed her judgments and prejudices and errors because she's like Emma feels softened, charitable even, and it's like she's like so proud of herself. She's like, I'm such a good person. I'm so charitable and kind, and oh my god, I just forgot what. Okay, now no, I remember now. My charitable acts of kindness are gone. I realize now that I hate you.
Yep. Which I'm not even mad. I'm not mad about
It's
Emma for
like the
this.
same. It's like literally one paragraph later that like
Mhm.
it literally says these were charming feelings, but not lasting.
Yep. Because
Well,
what a mood.
person, but it's too hard.
What a mood.
So chapter 21.
Yep. Knightley's like, I am congratulating you, Emma, for being halfway decent to Jane for the first time in your life. And I just imagine Emma being like, it was so hard.
She goes, I'm happy you approved, but I hope I am not often deficient in what is due to Gus at Hartfield. And he's like, nope. Nope, not a concern.
And then they drop the news that Mr. Elton is going to be married out of the blue. Apparently, he's been gone 4 weeks, but it's been like a chapter.
Right, for us, it's been a chapter, but now he's getting married.
Yeah. And it's to someone named Miss Hawkins of Bath. Oh, I wanted to do my Jane Fairfax prediction.
Uh-huh.
Okay, also, I might say something that happens because I don't fully remember because I have a very bad memory. So, my prediction is either option 1,
Okay.
they slept together. 2, secretly getting married. 3, they're mortal enemies. I don't know which one it's going to be, but those are my 3 predictions.
Which one do you want it to be?
I want mortal enemies for the flashbacks. I like a little spice. Okay, I love.
These books are so boring. I need some like real drama in here. I want them to fight to the death with nothing but a toothpick and a hair comb.
I got excited when he said Elton was making love to her. Such a funny like, something that like obviously in the 1800s is just like okay, whatever. Like yeah.
So drastic and dramatic and yeah.
So Harriet also runs into the Martins. She's super shaken up about it, and then Emma has to be like, also just so you know, Mr. Allen is getting married. Fun fact.
Fun fact.
So then we are on to chapter 22.
Oh, just one real quick
Oh
thing
yeah.
that I wanted to point out.
Mm-hmm.
I really love that closer to the end of the chapter, I really love that Jane is like, not Jane, that Emma is congratulating her and she's like, well, of course he's going to miss her. She's undoubtedly this amazing thing. He really missed out on Harriet, and there's like a moment where everybody's like, who's Harriet again? I found that to be very amusing. Anyways,
Yep.
moving on.
So chapter 22. Everyone apparently thinks Augusta Hawkins is like the nicest girl. Even though no one's ever met her, someone said that she was nice, and everyone's just like taking it. They're like,
Yep,
yeah, she's the best.
at face value.
Mm-hmm. So Elizabeth Martin apparently tries to call on Harriet, but she wasn't at home. And I'm like, ooh, resurgence. And then chapter 23. Frank is officially coming. Chapter, like 2 paragraphs later, Frank is here. No time wasted. It kind of, okay, this chapter to me, and you'll have to tell me your opinion, but it seemed like she couldn't make up her mind really on how she was feeling about Frank. And I don't
I
know.
think it's more that she like wants more information before she makes a decision about Frank.
Which is
You know,
fine.
like how like even in your own head, sometimes you think something really mean
Mm-hmm.
and you feel guilty, even if it's only in your head and no one else can ever hear it. And then you're like, that's not very nice. Maybe I should learn more before I judge.
Yeah.
I think in this scenario, that's Emma. She's like, wants more information before she gives a full judgment.
Mm-hmm. But it seems like Frank has implied that him and Jane have a lot more of a friendship than
And they
Jane let
actually
on.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Another thing that I'm like, okay, what's your guys' relationship? Because he's like, where's Jane Fairfax's house? I want to go call on them
Right.
immediately. Like, he just got into town. His bags haven't even been unpacked yet. And he's like, all right, where's Jane?
He literally like walks inside taking off his glove. Where is my dear Jane? You're
Yeah.
what? I mean, Miss Fairfax. Have you seen someone called Miss Fairfax? Like
Yeah.
it makes them seem like they're very intimate.
Yeah.
Like
And
they
we
have
do.
that kind of a connection or relationship.
Yeah, and it's kind of implied that the whole reason he's actually in town is because Jane's in town, because
Mhm.
that's where he was last, was the same city that Jane was in.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
yeah, we'll see. All right, but that is all the reading we have today.
Okay,
Woo.
so for next time,
I gotta look. Hold on. Where's my book? It's over there.
you gotta look at your book and then we have to compare it to my book.
Uh huh. Okay, so reading 3 is until XXI 33. Should be like 100 pages later or something. I think this is it. Yeah. Okay, so that chapter begins with everybody in and about Highbury who has ever visited Mr. Elton. And I don't want to read anymore because I'm scared I'm gonna
How far away is it?
It's about like 80 pages in mine. It'd be in about a little over halfway.
And it starts with what? I'm sorry.
You're fine. Everybody in and about Highbury who had ever visited Mr. Ellen. And I don't want to read anymore because I'm scared I'm going to get
No, that's
spoiled.
fine. I just want to find the right one.
Mm-hmm. Should be like 3/5 of the book.
Now I'm wondering if it doesn't have the exact same like wording or something.
I can tell you where the last chapter ended. Oh, okay. All right, ready to hear the last bit of the last chapter? Okay.
Okay.
Quote, "Why, really, dear Emma, I say that he is so very much occupied by the idea of not being in love with her that I should
gotcha. Okay. So if you are reading a book similar to mine, that is volume 3, chapter 16.
And there we go.
And there we go. All right.
So
see you guys in next time.
1 week. And we'll talk about more Emma and how I'm remembering Clueless more and more.
Yes, and then eventually we are going to do a Clueless episode because now I desperately want to.
Absolutely. And we will catch you all same place, same time next week. Bye. Oh, wait. I forgot. Where can all the people of the internet find you and your podcast? I don't know if I did that last week.
Me and my podcast are everywhere at Prince Kai Fam Pod.
And now, for real, we will catch you right here next week. Bye. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Barely Bookish podcast. If you want to know why I sound like trash, it's because I'm on vacation right now. So I am using my iPhone to record this outro. But if you want to find me, I am at Barely Bookish on all the good places. I should be back home when I do the next recording, editing possibly. So hopefully this outro won't sound like trash next time. But, gotta work with what you have. Thank you all so much for listening. Our logo was designed by my little sibling Sarah. Our theme song is by Raphael Crux. If you want to help support the show, please consider joining the Patreon, or consider, sharing with a friend. That's always helpful and always great. But I'll catch you all next week, and we will be talking about more Emma. Bye!